Okay, many people requested cap on Convoy. I have one Convergence, one Convoy here. I'm gonna show you my playstyle playing cap. It actually is not like my original playstyle. It was more so I saw someone do this to me and it was really frustrating. So I kind of like got the same idea to try it. But yeah, this is a Convergence one to start and then like a straight Convoy one after this. So here I am just waiting as I want to sort of dive in between their, between their tanks and onto their back line. Um, Here I just see Groot. I start pushing him and trying to control the space out and charge my support ults, and I see him getting low, so I kind of go in a little bit. I get a little bit scared there, like getting walled off, and I think I should have gotten a little bit suspicious to myself that I hadn't seen anybody else here, and I realized that our backline just died. So I pull back around to try and deal with who's on the point, and by this time it's already too late. Uh, at that point, I remember lagging out and I getting stuck in the doorway. So it happens. Our team had died anyway, so it's fine. So we had an unlucky first start, but um, here we get a good first pick on the payload. And now what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to dive in, take some pressure, and sort of stall the payload a little bit. Especially knowing that Spider-Man was dead and we'd be down. They would be down. I am using this to my advantage before they have a chance to fully regroup. I am just repeatedly trying to cause a bunch of distraction and charge my ult. I can't kill them, but look, as I'm just dancing around the objective and on the payload, they can't do anything. And the whole point of playing these games is to defend the objective. Getting kills is it only leads to is should only be leading to get, to defend the objective or to obtain the objective. And right now, on defense, my goal is to make sure that this bot doesn't push as, any farther if I can. So right now, even if they're getting kills, it ultimately doesn't mean a whole lot. Their payload's not pushing, right? So this is good for me. And I'm stalling as long as I can. And the moment I start to fear that I'm getting low, I just get out, I grab a health pack, and I loop back around. I take it easy, I wait for my team, and now I go out. Uh, Once I know my team is on the way, I get to the point, and I just jump on the point. Now, I know that in the other videos I was like, "Oh, like, don't attack Cloak if you've already seen that she's used her bubble. There's no point in trying to kill her, right?" But I'm not trying to kill her there. I'm just trying to waste their time. Cuz look at even though, I even though I'm on the point, I'm just keeping it from going anywhere. I'm not getting any kills, but that doesn't matter. My goal isn't to get kills. My goal is to keep the objective from moving. So I back out. I see the res station, so I want to destroy that. I kind of ignore uh, Star Lord a little bit, and here I'm just giving up space during during the cloak and dagger out, and then as soon as it runs out, I go back in. And what am I doing? I'm just jumping around the payload. I'm keeping it from moving. I follow up on Strange's ult, and now that I know that they only have one support, I am harassing that one support. I'm still getting used to controlling cap. So like what you're seeing here in a lot of these videos is me still sort of like learning the mechanics of the hero. But this is why a lot of my videos talk about like macro and just sort of knowledge about the game is because of the fact that I don't even need to understand the mechanics of what cap does and have them polished down exactly to be able to win at least, my games up until Grandmaster. Because at this point, it's still just about playing the objective. If you have knowledge of how to do that, then, the mechanics will follow in time. So I hear Star Lord ulting, and I hear um, Black Panther ulting, and I'm just trying to survive those two ults. And at this point, I pull back a little bit, thinking I just need to stay alive with my team because there's no point in getting collapsed on. I'm sure that there's a lot of cat players who are probably like, "Oh my god, what's he doing?" And you'd probably be right. But there, I peeled back, and now that we have the advantage and they got too aggressive, I'm gonna go back in. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jump around the objective. I'm not doing anything other than just keeping the objective from moving. And now that I know that she's used her abilities, I'm going to harass the crap out of her. Because look, right now, even though Spider-Man ulted, the card's not moving. So it doesn't matter, right? That ultimately is a wasted ult on his part because of the fact that they haven't accomplished anything. You know, they're using ults and nothing's happening. And I'm constantly looking around, looking at the back to see like where's the flankers are and what's happening. At this point, I'm just trying to pull out resources, right? And with Rocket's ult out, I'm a little too nervous about how much damage is going to be incoming for me and my team. So I immediately just like pop it and dance around the payload. I'm not even necessarily like I'm trying to kill stuff, but it's not my main priority. Like I'm mostly just causing a bunch of chaos and pulling out resources and just keeping the payload from moving. All too often in these games, people get so worried about the kills that they sort of forget and just like let the payload push forward, especially when you were the tank. Yeah, you can't get kills, but you can win the game just by not letting them do anything with the objective. So here, once again, I'm causing chaos while pull out resources and stuff. I don't really need to do anything because once again, payload's not moving, right? Once again, they're getting kills, but I am just keeping the payload from moving. And as I get low, I get out. I grab the health pack, and then I start to go back in. Payload hasn't gone anywhere. They got a bunch of kills, right? They had a bunch of kills. They had the numbers advantage on us, right? But they weren't doing anything about the objective. They were just getting kills. So I am just stalling this payload out. Mechanically as Cap, I'm not very good, but I don't need to be. I understand that the game is about the objective. It's not a team deathmatch, right? And my Psylocke is actually really good at getting kills. And there, once again, you dive forward, push people back, come back, pincer the tank, and then attack them. And look, and I go right back on the payload. And me sitting on the payload this way is super beneficial because of the fact that I'm a very mobile tank. Doctor Strange isn't. So if he's on the payload and he gets kind of like pressured out, he can't just get away. Even with his ability to fly, it's super difficult. But with Cap, I can easily put my shield up, I can dash out, I can jump out. There are so many options available to me. So this style of like playing Cap on Convoy is all about playing the objective and not about playing for kills. I see the shield go up, so I come back and I get the health and I keep the payload from moving anywhere. And I am just harassing. At this point, I'm not even really trying to like kill anyone. I am just, I mean, I do there, but I am focusing mostly just on pulling out resources and just stalling the objective. Here I get low, so I get back out because once again, I just need to survive and stall out the objective. And you pull out resources and defend the objective. I go to help my team. I jump back in on the point. I just keep it from moving, right? I am trying to stall this out because while this rocket ult is out, my team might feel a little defensive and might want to play a bit more back. But for me, I'm just going to keep the objective from going anywhere. So that way it gives us the advantage and gives us more time to work. And then we get our amplifier out, and then I tried to shield to get out, and I die for it. And I think to myself, it's okay because like I gave us the advantage. We have alt advantage. All we need to do is just stand on the payload and we will successfully defend point two, right? Because we have the numbers advantage here. We have a tank up and our tank did the thing that you're not supposed to do as tank, which is leave leave the objective. Or at the very least, someone needed to stand on it. But your job, especially as tank, is having that health, is just holding that. And all game, I was holding that payload from moving. And the one time I died, it pushed through to the second point. And this is why I emphasize how important it is to stay alive. Because if I was alive, that objective never would have got capped that second point. It was still my fault that I died, but I'm just trying to emphasize the point of like, this is why you stay alive. So now I'm just waiting. I am waiting for a good opportunity to see an opening, and I see Black Panther go a little too aggressive. And once again, just like before, I'm using the payload as cover. I'm shielding. I am just keeping the payload from moving anywhere. They have to do something about me, but I won't let them. Right? They're all getting super distracted with each other as I split them up. I pull out resources, and then I go right back to the payload. I just try to follow up on attacks. I don't even really feel like I'm doing much this game. All I'm doing is I'm just standing on the payload and I'm staying alive. Now I hear the ult, so I try to get into it. And I'm standing on the payload. My team and their team are sort of having an all-out death match right now, just trying to, see who kills who, right? Um, and I'm just not letting them take the objective. I'm just not letting them move the objective. That's the only thing I care about. They can sit there and fight all day long, and as long as the cart isn't moving on defense, I don't really care. And now because I know that we only have like one fight left, I feel relatively confident about our ability to do something here. I'm just waiting. I'm keeping an eye on where my team is at. I let Star Lord know that this is my area. I try to slam, I get stuck on the collision, and now I ult on the point to pull out a bunch of resources and keep the objective from moving as my team is coming up with me. And Psylocke just absolutely goes crazy. And I pincer back in on the people there at the front. And we defend that point. Now, this way of doing things, one thing I want to point out because I did, screenshot the. One thing I want to point out here is that if you look at the score, right, I am 16-2. V Remedy was my Psylocke. V Remedy was going on a massive killing spree, right? Uh, he was at just absolutely farming everyone on the enemy team. But while everyone was sitting there and having this sort of death match, all I did the entire game on defense was just keep that payload from moving, right? I didn't want it to go anywhere. That's my only job. Like, as long as the payload's not moving and I pull the attention of multiple people, it makes it much easier for someone like my Psylocke to clean up the rest of the people. Because if I pull the attention of 2 or 3 people onto the payload, all of a sudden it makes it very easy for an assassin to kill everyone else. And I don't need to have a lot of final hits to do my job as tank. My job as tank was just to defend the objective, to which I feel I did a successful job at. Now on offense, uh, the point capture is very similar to my other video. Um, I'm going to try and split them up. I see we got a pick, but we also lost one. But I'm still going to try and pull resources out of the back line. I thought that Hulk was lower, and that's the reason why he was jumping out. So I went to turn on him when I shouldn't have done that. I go for the invisible woman because she's out of position. And we lose one, which is, a bummer, but I see who I can turn on. I see Hulk is low, so I go for him. Once again, it's just like the other video of just like you're choosing your targets as a dive tank to see who's out of position, who's weak, who do you feel you can kill. All right. I see Penny here. She's kind of free, so I go for her next. And she's not as free as I thought, so I get out. I'm too low, so I leave. Cap has really great mobility, so he's really good at being able to grab a health pack and get back into the fight quickly. So I jump back out and I jump back in and I help with the squishies that are on the point. I spent a little too much time trying to fight the Star Lord, but my team was able to do something with that space. One thing that you notice about these games is that, like, yes, it's a team game, but what you're all trying to do is individually kind of like be a helpful aspect to your team. And it's very difficult because of the fact that, it's solo queue. It's not a team. It's not like a professional sports playing, team where you have the same people you're working with all the time and have the right synergy. Like, you're all sort of trying to play your own game, but together. And so in those situations, sometimes you're like, I think this is the right call. Like, maybe going for the Star Lord was the right call. Maybe I pushed him out of there enough, and that gave my team space to work. Or maybe it might have been the wrong call. It's hard to say sometimes, and in hindsight, it's always much easier. And I'm sure that for many of you, you might see what I do and say, like, I would have done things a little differently there. And you might be right. Like, it might have been a better choice to do something else. But in these moments in the game, sometimes you just have to make that split second decision and be like, I think that this is where I can get the most value. And sometimes it's worth it, whether you're on support or DPS, to chase that kill or to create that space. So right here, I dive on the back line and I throw my shield after she turns invis by the advice of someone in the comments, which is super helpful. And now as I'm creating all of this space and I'm pushing them back, as I go forward, I create that chaos and split them up and force resources. I come back around and pincer them. They're backing up. And look to see um, all our payload is still moving at the moment, right? I'm not going to attack anyone in there because nothing's going to die. So I jump on the Hulk with Psylocke because of the fact that I figured everything else back there wasn't going to die, which I would probably chase a little too far. And now at this point, I am going to cause a bunch of chaos in their supports and pull out resources. And you see how after I pull them out, I get away, but she pulls me back in. So I come back for a fight. And now I have three people's attention on me with a bunch of resources that are getting pulled. And I try to get out to rejoin my team, and I just barely can. And you see how, like, right here at this point, our objective is moving forward. At the same point when the situation was reversed, I was jumping on this point repeatedly and just holding it here and at the back forever. And now I'm making sure, as a tank, that our payload is moving forward. And there's a Black Panther on the back line, so I am going to try and peel him off first. I missed the health back, and I just try to rejoin my team so I can stay alive. And we get the kill together. Now, once again, I need the objective moving, so that's where I'm at. I see them backing up, so I see this is my chance to apply pressure. I see that she jumps, so I use my shield bash. I get low, I pull out resources, I come back to the payload, I get healed up, and as long as the payload's moving, then my job is being done. I am causing chaos and pulling out resources. I realize at this point that I could punch the Hulk and then use that as a shield bash to be able to shoot the penny mines. And I see Doctor Strange ult, so I follow up with him. That was lucky, by the way. And right now, the objective is moving. When the objective's not moving, I go back to it. He dies. They get a very good ult off. I probably should have saved my ult, but I didn't see my Invisible Woman ulted. At this point, like right there, I see that Black Panther was outside of the Cloak and Dagger ult, so I jump on him, and then I come back to the point because I need this objective moving. She gets low, I can't chase after her, so I'm trying to push people off of the objective. I get a nice free kill on Invisible Woman, and here I go to back up my Strange because I would like to have him alive, and I can't do it, but I can get the tanks really low, which gives us a good advantage. And now, as Hulk is ulting, he's ulting away from the point, which means that I can just stand on this and cap it. This is like Diamond 1, by the way. The entire time as tank, I'm playing the objective. That's my goal. My goal isn't to get kills. My goal is to win the game. And now they're staggering, and I'm just backing up my Psylocke. Attack, pincer. I don't really care too much about Bruce because it's hard for him to get his form back anyway. And now we're just staggering them out, and yeah, we all know how staggering goes. And I'm still working on Cap. I'm still trying to practice animation canceling. I'm still trying to practice him in all situations. I mess up uh, my super jumps here. Like I make a lot of mistakes as Cap mechanically, but you don't have to be a mechanical god to carry yourself up through most of the ranks in this game. But you see how easy it was for us to push the payload up, and how it seemed like a very smooth transition uh, for the rest of us. Like we didn't have to push it nearly as far or all the way to the end because of the fact that I just did my best to hold it still as much as possible. And you can see here, I only have like 10 final hits. Psylocke had 37, but my job as tank wasn't to get the kills. My job as tank was to control that space and to control that objective. Psylocke was able to run around freely attacking everyone because of the fact that I was just standing on the point and just, you know, keeping it from moving. And I was pulling attention. Like the supports were staying on the payload and everyone else walked forward, like, hey, we're going to go attack people and create space. It's like, right, but the payload's not moving because I'm on it. So, as I have two supports and a DPS with me, Psylocke is like, oh, this is a 5v3 in her favor. Is she found it relatively easy. Um, So yeah, I'll narrate over this one at a much quicker rate because I feel like you guys get the point. But after I had tried that strategy, I tried it again, and right here, I waited for the payload to move forward for my team to engage. Then once my team had engaged, then I dove on their backline. And look, just like before, I'm just keeping the payload from moving. I'm using the payload as cover. I'm using my shield for my health. I'm trying to block the Bucky, and as soon as I get too much focus, too much attention, I dash out. Right? I throw my shield to charge up my ult. And I have this idea, like, what if I loop around the back and just dive back in and pincer in between them and just keep the cart from moving? And you see how at the very top, there's my little icon there and there's them. As long as I'm standing here, that cart stops moving. I'm not trying to kill anything. I am literally just trying to hold that space. And because I hold that space, we control more of it for longer because of the fact that the payload acts as cover, right? The farther the payload moves up, the more cover the enemy team has to use. I'm not letting it go up and around that corner. And here, as I'm pulling out resources, I'm mostly just relying on like my team to get the kills. And in this game, still, I'm trying to practice animation canceling with this shield bash or with this punching and stuff, and I'm not super great at it. But once again, it worked before, so I'm going to go up top and I'm going to do it again. I wait, I get hit, I back out a little bit, I wait for them to engage, and then once they do, I start to move forward. Wolverine goes for the Black Panther, so I do as well. My aim is terrible. I get stuck in the floor. I think I'm gonna get popped out, but when I don't, I punch it to get free. And here, I'm staying on the objective. See how I'm always like staying on the objective and holding it still? Helping my team by creating space and pulling out resources. I know that they can't do anything about this, so I'm just charging my ult at this point. I play a little too aggressive. I dash out and my team saves me. My strange saves me, which I'm thankful for, but I probably should have died there and I got bailed out by my team. We accidentally used our ults at the same time again because I didn't have time to check if she had hers, and I should have announced it or asked, but I was just feeling like I had to. But here, even as I'm creating this chaos and applying the pressure, I'm doing it around the payload, around the objective, so that way it doesn't move forward. I get out once again. I get healed up by my team, and right here, I jump back out to try and cause more chaos, and then I realize that I didn't stand behind cover long enough to get fully healed before I re-engaged, and that was on me. I'm probably stressing out my supports like crazy. I should have stayed back, gotten to full health, and then re-engaged. So like right here, I make that realization and I stand back and I wait until I'm full health before attacking again. My Doctor Strange ult, so I follow up on it, and I know that we have our amplifier, so I'm following up on that as well. I know that Wolverine's going to kidnap me, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to live through that. This is why you heal back to full before re-engaging, because otherwise that happens. But I want you to see how I spent so much time dancing around that payload that it's not even around the first choke point yet, right? Like it's been 3 minutes and they're only just rounding the very first corner with the payload. We don't even need to use Strange Portal in order to get back to the point. We could literally walk there as a team. These games are not about getting kills. Kills is what leads to taking the objective or defending the objective. I could stay alive forever and just never die as long as I just sit on that objective. And we would never really lose. So here we ult and I go back to the objective, keep moving forward. I'm splitting the team up. I force the cloak and dagger ult, and our team starts to drop. I thought we were going to do all right. I might have been able to play this differently and hold them first point, but I legitimately thought like if I just kept doing what I was doing and stalling out the payload, that my team was going to keep winning those duels in the back, and they didn't. So it's fine though. We stalled them for so long. But it's just like when you stall for that long, you give yourself such a huge advantage. And once again, that's what I've been having a ton of fun doing as Cap on these convoy maps is just jumping on the objective and keeping it from moving. So once again, ult is on point. I'm causing chaos. I'm doing damage. I see that Moon Knight is on the outskirts of the ult, so I can kill him. Doctor Strange is a free pick. At this point, we're just cleaning up. And I get this idea, much like in the first point, I was up atop and jumped down on the payload and kept it from moving and split the team up. I'm going to do it again. As long as they're letting me do it, I'm going to keep doing it, right? So here I see my team gets pulled, so I go to engage with them. The amplifier was probably not needed because they were already back behind the wall. They're probably not going to walk out. But I go and I engage on their back line anyway and cause chaos because now they need to do something about me. But now Bucky is engaging and ulting at the same time that he thinks that he's going to have supports there. And if you remember from my how to support video, if you watch that at all, uh, supports when they hear their ally ult, they're trying to back them up, right? So the moment that Bucky is ulting, I am now distracting both of his supports, so he's not going to get healed. So he dies for it. A lot of times what people tend to think is just like, oh, it's a team diff or oh, like I just have bad, I'm just have bad luck or whatever. It's just like it's just a matter of like, how you time your abilities and how you time your synergy with your teammates that makes a world of difference, right? If I would have engaged a second sooner or engaged a second later, Bucky might have been able to turn the fight around or might have killed me first, right? But because of the fact that I happened to engage at the same time as their Bucky was ulting and I was on their supports, it just made it really easy to win that fight. There, I attacked the Wolverine, testing my limits, and I realized I'm like, I probably can't win this fight very well, so I just go back and redo what's been working. If it's been working, why change it, right? When the moment the enemy starts to adapt to your playstyle, you need to adapt as well. But as long as they're going to let me do it, I'm going to keep doing it. I ult to keep Doctor Strange alive, and I do it too late. So I then use that as my opportunity to get aggressive on the team and try and split them up. I throw my shield at the ground and miss. And I go back to the point, and I'm attacking around the point. And why am I attacking around the point? Because the point's not moving anywhere. So it makes it really easy for us on offense. I get low, I back out, but the objective hasn't moved anywhere. Like, even when they get the advantage, even when they get kills, even when they push my team back, it doesn't matter because of the fact that the objective hasn't gone anywhere. You know, the value you get out of getting kills on convoy maps is based off of how far you can get the objective to move. And right now, even when they get kills, the objective doesn't move very far. I re-engage back in when I know my team is here. Wolverine gets a fat ult. And you can see still how, like, even though all this craziness is going on, I'm still dancing around the objective. Mechanically, once again, I am not an amazing cat player. I don't have like more than maybe a couple of hours on this hero, but I don't need to end the game 40 and 2 in order to win, in order to provide my team value. All I need to do is just play tank, which is create space, stall the objective, and let my team have space to work in. And if I'm alive, I can do that. So here on the reverse, I want to do the opposite, where I want to go in there, create chaos, pull out resources, and just like on offense, dive in, push people back, and then pincer back in. It's a lot of back and forth. Moon Knight gets pulled out. I lose track of him because he's in the air. I start attacking Invisible Woman and pushing the supports back. Bucky hooks. Now there was a bunch of resources that were used on me specifically in that moment that now they can't use on my team, and I get out free and with a ton of health. And now, because of the fact that my Black Panther engages on them right afterwards, Bucky doesn't have his hook, and Invisible Woman doesn't have her double jump. So we can engage pretty hard on them because of the fact that they just don't have the resources. I think the tanks got there late too. I think it was like they showed up, but they just got there late. So I think there was a bit of a miscommunication, and it snowballed out of control. I go out, I pull out resources, see the bubble has been used. Uh, now they don't have it for their next fight. I don't need to get kills. I just need to pull out resources and keep them from taking the objective. So right here, Strange is sort of by himself. I seen who I can go for, and moment I see that the supports are in a bad position where I can jump on them, I do. And the moment I do, I don't I don't kill the supports. Well, I get one. But the other one's still alive, but they're pushed out of the way now. And now I have everyone who's on this side isolated with me, right? They're trapped over here with me, and their support is on the other side. I see Magneto is in this doorway, and once I realize that I can block him in, I stop moving and I body block him with my collision, and then I start attacking and kill him because I know that his support's on the other side. So it makes it for an easy kill and easy cleanup. Cloak uses her ability. She goes up. I try to bounce my shield off the wall. I know she doesn't have anything, so it's a free easy kill. At this point, I believe we push it in for the win. Um, but you see how when you're playing Convoy, right? A lot of people, once again, they get it worked up because they see the scoreboard. Like, I got to see high numbers, I got to see high kills, I got to see high healing. In all actuality, what you need to do is just keep the objective from moving, right? And you do that as a tank by staying alive. You do that by stalling it out and controlling that space and controlling those objectives. And you know, uh, for Cap, I really enjoy playing him on maps like this because of the fact that I have so much control over that objective, right? Mechanically, once again, I'll say it a bunch of times. I am not an amazing Cap player, but I feel very confident on these maps, and he's a ton of fun to play because of the fact that I can win by controlling that payload. While everybody else is having team deathmatch off to the side, their supports alone can't do enough to kill me on the payload. And I have so much mobility about me, I can go back, grab a health pack, and come back to the payload and continue to stall it out. So while they're continuing getting a bunch of kills, it ultimately doesn't matter to anything because getting kills is the whole point of getting kills is to push that objective, right? But if they get a bunch of kills and my team comes out of spawn and the objective hasn't moved, they didn't get anything with those ultimates. Uh, and that's what you're trying to do. And that is, what you want to do as dive tanks a lot of times is you just want to stall out the objectives as long as possible. And through the use of your mobility, you can really stay alive in a lot of these situations. Uh, but yeah, that was, this was a good video, I think, on sort of like controlling the objective, as well as a little how to on cap for Convoy. I hope you guys found this useful and found it helpful. I know that I know that I had a lot of fun playing cap in this way, and I hope that I inspire other people to do the same. Even though I know how frustrating it is to go against, uh, but yeah, give it a shot. Let me know how it goes, and yeah, if you have any other requests, let me know. But yeah, thanks again for watching.